Those same readers of the Observer voted that TNA Impact was the worst television show in wrestling. Second place, believe it or not, was Hulk Hogan's Celebrity Championship Wrestling, and TNA was voted worst promotion of the year. Now, I know that you think a lot of Dave Meltzer's awards. When you win worst promotion of the year, did you get a trophy? Did you put it on the mantle? Did you guys display it at the office, or what's protocol when
I
you win?
don't recall that, but you know what? As I was reading research, Conrad, it was to me. Well, it's a question. I'm curious because I think we talked about this last week or the week before. Is Dave made a reply to a tweet about TNA's never been profitable. He knows. He absolutely knows that's a lie. I mean, there's no gray area. We went on Spike. I'm not going to say day one, but well, it was day one. But yeah, I mean, as far as, but 07, 08, 09, we were very profitable. So my point I'm saying that out is Dave's readers voted us worst promotion of the year. Well, why would that happen? And I'm not saying we did all things right. And
Right.
Hogan Celebrity, I'm not saying that at all. But Dave's narratives completely translated into his listeners' votes. Should come as no surprise, eh? I mean, it's funny. Now, why Dave has a specific dislike of TNA, I don't know I don't know what drove that other than Dave did what's best for business. So maybe it's good for him to knock the WWE, the only other national promotion or global promotion outside of WWE. I don't know, but I chuckled. And to your point, I don't believe that trophy or that plaque was in the post-production studio. I don't believe it was in Dixie's office. I don't believe it was in Dean's office. It could have been in Dallas, Conrad, but you're a belt collector.
Yeah.
So if you're a plaque collector, if you've kind of could dive into a couple of group chats and just find out where is the lost plaque or trophy of TNA's award-winning worst promotion of the year of 2009.
I'd love to run that down. I mean, it would be right up there with like the Crockett Cup for me.
No way.
Not really. Hey, there's a big European tour that TNA holds. Opening in Dublin, there's a sellout crowd of 2,000 fans here. Foley's on tour with you. The second night of the tour in Dublin, you pin Kurt in the main event. From there, you go to Manchester. There's 5,000 fans here, and that's got Nick Aldis's debut. He beats Xavier Woods. Dixie Carter even makes an appearance in front of the crowd before the main event, and you're going to team with AJ to wrestle Kurt and Scott Steiner. And the rest of the tour would see Birmingham draw 4,000, Glasgow do 4,100, and an all-time record for London, 8,100 fans. This is one hell of a tour for the company, is it not?
It is. It was, I think, the most lucrative live event tour in our history.
Right.
I think this was the most profitable, best live event run of shows in TNA history.
Yes.
Did you have a question? I mean,
I just thought it was. I mean, listen, I know people like to dunk on AEW and dunk on TNA and blah blah blah, but this is a hell of a tour here, and it's not on television necessarily. You're doing a tour, and it's moving thousands of tickets. 8,100 in London, strong. And Meltzer would say the funny thing is, you probably get 70% of the house show reports from TNA in the comments where it was a great show. Totally unlike watching it on TV. TNA's strength is its wrestling, but you'd never know that by watching their television, where match time is kept to a minimum. It would be one thing if this philosophy was working, but it's a broken record. Ratings are inching slightly upward. Ironically, with most of the key guys who dominate the show, like Mick Foley, Sting, Kevin Nash, Jim Cornette, Jeff Jarrett, and others, rarely even wrestling on the road. But when you consider the ratings are only slightly lower in a 1-hour format on Saturday nights, with far less name talent doing the Scott D'Amore booking run, they were doing better consistently on pay-per-view. And I don't see that as an affirmation of the current direction. There is a lot they are doing right, particularly the top heel group and having a lot of good talkers, but there is too much talking, and they book their baby faces like crap to the point where the fans now cheer the heels. It's as if they're taking a page from WCW in 1997 with both what did and didn't work without really figuring out why it did and didn't, nor recognizing what the end result was. I know you don't always love the commentary, but it is fascinating to see and hear the reports that everybody loves the matches that they see at the house show, but that's not what they see on TV. And I know what I would think if I were you reading that. Well, yeah, why don't you try that same with WWE? WWE is going to load it up with a lot of fun matches, but we're going to get a lot of 20-minute in ring promos on Raw and SmackDown. How are you reconciling that? I know you're the challenger brand, and I know that you're trying to be different than. Did you think, or was there a conscious effort to, hey, let's try to focus more on story, less on matches? Or did you think, hey, maybe we should be different? Maybe we do need a little more wrestling because that seems to be working and getting critical acclaim.
Oh, it ebbed and flowed. So what's my comment on the critics, if you will, loving the live events, but not loving the TV? And I think the simplistic mindset that I always tried to have, and again, you can get off base and you can read a few things here or there, or collectively, the narrative can really add up. But for the most part, Conrad, I would kind of go back and say, okay, let's consider the source. The folks that are writing that they love live events and hate the TV product. They spent the money to go see a live event because you can't report on a live event if you're not there. So they're going to like more wrestling. Okay. It's a barometer, but it's not the end all be all. But you can go look at minute by minutes. You can go to focus groups that are not live event fans, but they are television watchers. And Spike did many of these. I wish I had a camera to sometimes record these, Conrad, because they would put people in a room and have what do you call that? One-way glass where you could watch them, but they couldn't see you. And you watch them watching the television show. And these are TV watchers. And they would rate them in 3 different categories. Not the right terms, but hardcore, average watchers, and then casual, whatever it may be. You just had to say, yeah, I'll sit down for this focus group and I'll watch professional wrestling. And it's remarkable on what those groups would come away with. They love the in-ring promos. They love the music. They love the music and entrance. After the match is over, ding, 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 whether it's a 1, 2, 3 or DQ, television watchers love to see what's going to happen afterwards. From bell to bell would be their least liked segment of the television program. So you kind of got 2 different audiences. And so when people write in and really drill down and say, live event was great, their TV product sucked, you kind of had to go, okay, I get that, but let's consider the source.
Sure.
And look, at the end of the day, you kind of look at, we'll call it, let's just say Monday Night Raw. Correct me if I'm wrong, Conrad, but didn't they just do a $5 billion deal?
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I point that out is that is a show that's been on since 93. And here we are 30 years later. And I would, if you drill down on the minutes of wrestling in its totality and the minutes of in-ring or music and entrance and all that, the scales are pretty off. And they're doing something right for Netflix to say, oh, I'll stroke this check for billions of dollars. But I get it. I mean, a wrestling fan wants to see wrestling. That's what live events are for. So it's a challenge, pal. Big time.
Were you not using Doug Williams in a more regular capacity in this era because of travel costs and transportation costs? Is that fair to say?
Singularly. I mean, I love Doug. great in-ring performer. And I'll say this, he's one of the performers that could do his work, and even in a tag, everybody else's work. He's really good ring general. But at the time, I don't think he had moved here yet. He was willing to commit, but we just didn't want to. That's another thing. Hey, Doug, move on over to America. Oh, you get here. Oh, man, you're going to be living on a shoestring budget. We didn't want to do that to the guy. So it was a difficult balance. Did we want to sign him? Yes. Did we sign him? Yes. Did we give him full-time work? No. It was a challenge.